looking like a good blemish. I'ma go hard till the shit finish. Won't work your jobs, won't buy your dreams. That's me and my entire team. We hiring and firing. My circle, my entire ring. Get this together like a marriage. Jewelry like a garden full of carrots. You can throw a party, we'll crash a party. Faster than a bar, you get embarrassed. And it's all in the eyes. Tell me who will go against the gods. And it might hit me with the Rico. Who will go against the mob? Who will hurt these niggas? I ain't feeling these niggas can't kill just one.
All right. Enough of that. Just jumping on, really, this is kind of a test episode. I know all of us YouTube dudes do a million test episodes, but if you checked out the live stream over the weekend with Jamel Herring, you'll know that I had some volume problems with him coming into the mix. So I definitely want to make sure in the future that it was a problem that was fixed. So I had to jump back on and try to make sure that was taken care of. So I got a guest, for a quick chat. I got my man on here, Lamar Wright, out of Toledo, Ohio. One of the best trainers up in the state. One of the top trainers definitely in that city. So what's good, Coach?
What's going on, Wood? Appreciate you having me back for a test run.
Thanks for being available, man. Like I said, I'm not trying to shortchange you or anything, but I definitely want to make sure when I get people on, important people, and everybody that I have on is important, that, they can be heard. So I just glad that you can help me out real quick.
Gotcha.
Well, I guess we can jump into it, man. I know you're a pretty mature dude, man. I know you pretty tied into, connected into in a lot of different lanes and whatnot, especially in the game. And I respect your perspective on a lot of stuff, so a lot of topics. So what was your take, man? It's kind of odd. This is Martin Luther King's holiday and whatnot, and we kind of got some outside people and some inside people pitting two sisters together in Layla Ali and Claressa Shields, man. What do you think about this little rift kind of reigniting this week?
Well, I don't know. Claressa said some things that probably got back to Layla Ali. Claressa said some things before about Layla, so I think Layla just got her opportunity to say something back to her.
Well, go ahead.
I mean, but they're talking about, they're trying to put them two together, man. And I've just seen that Kovalev, damn near broke a girl's neck from punching her in the face. And this happened in 2018. I never even heard nothing about it until today. So, yeah. So, the media just picking and choosing and trying to pit two great women together against each other, but they forget about talking about Kovalev damn near breaking some woman's neck by punching her in the face.
I saw something about that, and I saw that TMZ picked up the story, which is kind of right in their wheelhouse. I don't know where media's responsibility is. I do think the major sites like ESPN, especially with him fighting over there, you would think that they would pick that up. They definitely do, cover, fighters, black fighters and whatnot. They cover them a little differently, but
boy, let that have been Mayweather.
Right.
Let that have been Terrence Crawford. Let that have been anybody at the top of the game. Let that have been Earl Spence. We're talking about this going on 2 years. Never heard nothing about it.
Right.
Until today. So, I mean, he's looking at 4 years in prison. But, the thing with, Layla Ali and, you're going to have those things. You had the same thing going with Sugar Ray Leonard and Mayweather. They was going back and forth. They were both great in their era. To me, I got to see them as rare. I got to see both of them in their time, in their prime. But, two different weight classes. They would have never even met up. Layla Ali fought light heavyweight. Claressa's obviously going down and not up. So, I like to see that fight, but you know they're just going to exchange words because Layla Ali ain't coming out of retirement and Claressa Shields ain't moving up.
I guess the thing that kind of frustrated me, I have Sirius XM radio. I listen to and they recently launched a joint show with Fight Nation and the Zone behind it, and they put these two brothers. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but Ak and Barack. They put them on a daily show. You heard of them? Yeah,
I heard of them. I never listened to the show. I only heard of them through like the Zone.
Okay. Yeah, so they did a show. I mean, the Zone trying to increase their profile and whatnot, put some more visibility on what they have going on, especially with them not having any linear TV, without being able to use that. So they put this show on recently, and they've kind of they still running with this thing. A week later, they still running with it and kind of really pushing it out there like it's something that's even feasible. With like you said, with Layla trying to come back at 42 and been out of the game for 13 years, it's kind of senseless to me. But like I said, I tapped in today and they were still talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, they just trying to steal shine from, Claressa Litt. And I have to say this for her. Like, she's brought women boxing to a place that has never been, to a place that Layla Ali could have never got women's boxing back in her era. So you have to respect Claressa for what she's done for women's boxing. Like, I've never, I'd be the one to admit it, that I've never fell into like watching women's fights, but just like the last fights they had with her on it, like the first fight, who was it, with the girl from Switzerland? Like, I was like, man, that was probably the best fight on that card, and it was the opener bout for Claressa Shields, main event card.
Are you talking about
that fight happened?
You talking about Espinosa, Napoleon Espinosa?
No, yeah, but the girl that she fought that was from Switzerland.
Oh, Cedar Roots.
So that has me, right. So now that has me intrigued to even, see a future fight with her and Claressa Shields. And before, I wasn't even a fan of like trying to make like future bouts or like what female's gonna fight this female and that female. Now I'm like, man, I want to see that girl fight Claressa. That's gonna be a good fight. You know what I'm saying? Then we had another good fight with Franchon Cruz versus Alejandro. You know what I'm saying? So Alejandro Jimenez.
So and I guess
her name is Alejandro, but that was Alejandro that night.
Well, I guess that's where I got a little frustrated with them. Was like, y'all sitting here putting all this energy into discussing the fight that can't be made, but then you're not even coming and picking up on, like you said, I want to see Cedarus against Claressa, or
between me and you, man, that's like, I never even heard these dudes before the Zone. So that's what you get, these type of dudes that like who don't know boxing, man, just talking like nothing will ever happen. With the words, I mean, the worst that's going to happen from that is they exchange bad words to each other, and now they don't like each other instead of paying homage to each other. Claressa has to pay homage to Ali for the simple fact that Ali did open the way for some type of excitement, her and Ann Wolfe, for some type of excitement of women boxing. But the torch got passed to Claressa, and Claressa, what she's done for women's boxing is like, I don't think no other female would be able to do. She started it. She's the queen right now. So for them to keep going back and forth, and like, nothing's ever going to happen but talk. Let's talk about some real intriguing fights that we can get made. Let's talk about these fights that Claressa can be into with Alejandra Jimenez or I don't know her name, the girl from Switzerland.
Oh, Ellen. The Swede's name is Ellen Cedarus.
Ellen. Yeah, Ellen. So let's talk about those fights instead of talking about something that would never manifest. Nothing. It's just a bunch of talk. But that's what people like these days, hype.
Right, and that's what their background is kind of from. I think their background is from 50 This is 50.com. I think they might have started on the website with him, and then I think they just kind of been tied in because they're from New York, man. So they've been tied into kind of like digital media and whatnot. I'm not really hating on the brothers because they're just as good as most people that are going to be on there. But actually, the Ak Reyes cat, I guess his brother used to be a professional fighter. I think he lost to Kendall Holt, maybe. And then Ak himself was also like an amateur, fought in the amateurs a little bit. And then Barack is, I think he started off maybe as like as security for like rappers and whatnot. And then
yeah, but you know what? My brother is a mechanical engineer, but that doesn't allow me to talk about mechanical engineering. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, the backgrounds and like, let's talk about real boxing.
True,
like if you've done this before, let's talk about real boxing. Let's talk about the real fights that could be made. Let's press for these real fights to be made. What we talking about Layla Ali and Clarissa for?
And that's part of the problem though, is they have 15 hours to fill each week because they're on Monday through Friday. So, and I think that could be a thing that turns off a lot of diehard or core boxing fans. They spend a lot of time talking about rap music. They spend a lot of time talking about clothing. But one feather in their cap though is that they have they have relationships with a lot of PBC fighters. They have a lot of they have a lot of relationships with boxers in general. So they do get quite a few fighters on there from all of the platforms, and they are bringing those guys on and giving giving fans and giving those guys some exposure. So it's some plus, it's some strength, some pros and cons to what they do. But I was a little turned off that here it is 4 and 5 days later. And I'm gonna tell you another thing where I think they dropped the ball. They were they're still defending the zone about starting that Kovalev and Canelo fight after 1 a.m. Eastern time. They still defending that, and they also defend the celebrity fights. So, with the zone backing them, and they've had Eddie Hearn on a couple of times. They kind of have to push the product, in terms of trying to lure people in for subscriptions and whatnot.
Yeah, so they got the zone thing about that was BS. About them starting at the 1 o'clock because they did they know what they did. They waited for the UFC fight to be done, but the YouTubers, man, I didn't frown upon that move because it brings new people into the sport of boxing, new fans into the sport of boxing that would never even have came. And that was actually like some old promoter type trickery that they used. I don't know if you guys ever remember a promoter called Don Elbaum, but he will promote like schemes of fights like that to like draw different people in that who would never even have watched boxing. So with the YouTuber fight, man, I agree with that because it pulls more fans in, to enjoy the sport that we all love, and that's what we need, man. We need new fans. We need boxing to be more global and more likable. Everybody, when they look at boxing, man, they think it's a primitive sport. You know what I'm saying? But it's actually not as safer than football in itself. But I didn't think that was a bad move. I thought that was a good promotional move. I thought that was a good promotional move. But for them to wait till after 1 o'clock, to lead us along for that Kovalev Canelo fight, that was BS.
I'm not gonna waste a lot of time on it, but I'm not a hater of the experiment with the celebrity fights myself, because I think one thing about it, I think the zone came into the game on the right foot and thought it was a fair proposal to say, hey, give us this $10 a month. we're going to try to do this big schedule for you. And I think that message didn't really sink in. I think we had people that were rejecting them just because of Eddie Hearn's involvement. And I think they've done some different things, straightforward boxing, and people rejected it, but they still got to deliver. So I think, they changed up the game and tried to adapt the best that they could. And this is one of the avenues that they went down. And like I said, they gotta, I don't know if it's a monthly meeting or, a bi-weekly meeting or after every weekend, that they have a fight. I mean, they gotta deliver. So, when U.S. fight fans didn't really want to rock with what they put out there, you got to do something. So,
right.
I'm not totally against it.
I think Eddie's plan, and it still may work, I think it was to basically build a bridge on the gap, that's separating the European fighters and the American fighters. I think Eddie's plan is to put them all on one platform, have them all get familiarized, have the UK fighters familiarized over here with the US fans and vice versa. And I think once he's able to really bridge that gap, I think he might have something there because, it won't be so restricted here. You know what I'm saying? Because in America, you only have a few top names, a few ticket sellers that people want to see. Well, it's probably only a handful that we all can name. But over in the UK, man, the boxing is just so huge and so big, and everybody's almost a star over there. And I think Eddie wants to bring that to the States. But in order to bring that to the States, he has to bridge the gap. Like, you could talk to any American fighter that went over there and fought in the UK. They want to go back and fight over there because they feel that environment. They see that environment. They see the fans, 80,000, 50,000 plus fans filling up these arenas. Man, we should have that here. America is the mecca of boxing, but we just don't have that type of support. And I think that's what Eddie is trying to bring here. And I think he may have thought it may have been easier, but it's turning out to be a tougher job. But I think Eddie can get it done, and when he gets it done, it's going to change boxing. I mean, it's going to blow it up. It'll be, it'll be huge. So I hope and pray that he's able to make his plan work.
My whole thing behind it, in terms of rooting against the zone, is, and you got a couple of guys, you're working with fighters and probably got younger fighters, in the pipeline and whatnot. And if the zone does in fact pull out after this year or in 2021, who comes into the market to provide all of these young guys, especially coming off of the Olympics and whatnot? Who comes into the market and provides these guys an opportunity, to go out here and take a shot at this thing?
Well, I hope they wouldn't pull out, but I don't think they would pull out because they do. In all honesty, they have the biggest name in boxing, and that's Canelo Alvarez. So I think they just have to remarket, re-strategize, see what they need to do to rebuild it. But I doubt that they pull out. But if they did pull out, man, that would just that'll leave a hole. And I think the only other promoter that will be able to fill that hole and that void would be Top Rank with the exclusive deal with ESPN. Because no matter what, even though the Zone's throwing all these shows, we forget that Top Rank's throwing 42 shows a year. That's a lot itself. So, they need the talent, and they need to build fighters, and they need other fighters to fight other fighters. So if that was to happen, I mean, I wouldn't be so worried to be like, oh, we don't have no place to go. It'll be Top Rank that's filling the void, filling the hole, because that's the only other, they have an exclusive deal with ESPN. So that no matter what, that's going to happen.
Well, I didn't really want to get too much all into the business side of stuff and whatnot. I just was starting out with that. Like I said, man, for anybody that just tuned in, this is Lamar Wright, boxing coach, head trainer out of the Toledo area. He's had fighters on Top Rank on ESPN, Showbox,
All of them.
All of them, and he's working with tons of guys. So, we haven't talked since you had Tyler McCreary on against Carl Frampton. You guys, it wasn't your night. I don't know, man. Walk us through where you guys are in regrouping, coming off of that experience.
We knew that was, that I asked Tyler, I asked my fighter, I asked him to do some big things, and we went. Training camp was great. The intensity in camp, everything was good. The experience got us. The experience got us. If you watch the fight, you could tell who was, who was the more talented guy, and that was us. But Frampton had so much experience, and hats off to him, man. He leaned on his experience, and just with his experience, was able to find his way through victory. Frampton even came back into the locker room that night, and told him, and I never had all the fights that I participated in. I never had a fighter you come back into the locker room the way he did, man. Him, his team, great people. But he told Tyler, man, you're a future world champion. I just had the experience, and he let Tyler know. There was a few times where he thought, whoa, okay, this kid is big, but he had the experience, man, and we gained so much from that fight that the type of experience that Tyler got in that fight is, he could never pay. He couldn't pay for that, and he will take this type of experience and better his career with it. And to me, you have losses, but to me, this one here it wasn't a loss, man. It was a learning lesson, and it just grew and made Tyler better. And everybody has to remember, we're young, and we're going against a former 3-division world champion, and this guy had more championship rounds than we had rounds total. And this was his first 10-round fight. So he was kind of reserving because he didn't know. He's never been there before. He's never been in those waters before. But I was there telling him, like, look, you could do this. And then after the fight, he knew, like, I had a lot more to give, but he didn't know. And that's something we can't fault him on, because every fighter has that running through their head when they get into these championship rounds. If they can get there or not. Do they have to conserve? Can I let my hands go this way? Can I, or so they don't know. But now he knows, and then Tyler's going to be a problem. He's going to, his next fight, I feel sorry for him, man. And this year we're looking to get back in there this year to make that statement that we want that title. He didn't lose nothing from this fight, man. He just gained everything. He gained experience. He gained respect. People said that Frampton was going to knock us out in 2 to 3 rounds, and we proved him wrong on that. Even when he went down, took a knee, he got back up fighting. So it's everything that he has everything that you want to see in a fighter, man, and he has everything in him that you want to that a champion has. So we'll bounce back. So hopefully we'll get back in there by March, April, and then try another run. Fall, the early fall or winter.
Did he share with you, did he share with you kind of, we're watching this, and this is just to kind of let viewers and fans know what's going on in these different situations if we can. But did he tell you kind of, we saw like at the end of the first round, getting into that second and third round, like he wouldn't let his hands go. He's got a beautiful jab. It's one of his better attributes. He really didn't go to that. Did he share with you kind of what kept him tentative? Besides, just that experience gap.
It was basically the experience of Frampton, man. He was able to keep the right distance and range. Frampton knew where he needed to be, so Tyler couldn't utilize his jab. But at the end of the day, Tyler was, when I watched 1, 2, 3 rounds, if Tyler would have fought that way the whole round, we would have been able to frustrate Frampton. because Frampton still had to figure out how to get to us. I think what happens was, Frampton's been there before. He's been under those lights. He had the patience and the experience, and I think our patience, we broke first on our patience. So if we was to rematch again, man, I feel 100% that Tyler would really hurt Frampton because he's seen that, what he had to offer, and he got that experience, and like he knows what to expect now if he ever goes into a big fight again. So he knows what to expect. He knows that he can do it. And so if we was to rematch again, man, if they offered us that fight again, we would definitely take it, and it'd be a whole totally different outcome. So I think so Frampton, as far as like stalling us out on the jab, Frampton knew right where he needed to be, as far as being out of range.
Now, it seemed like, again, I'm at home watching it. He wasn't having a lot of success outside. Do you think moving inside would have been the move to make, or do you just think that's an area? I guess what I'm getting at is not everybody can fight inside, and a lot of the younger guys, I'm seeing it week in and week out. Just not in this situation, but. How can fighters or Tyler improve in an area like that to at least when their go-to isn't working, that they feel comfortable getting in the pocket more or moving inside and mixing it up that way and taking advantage of that size advantage inside, maybe leaning on him a little bit, roughing him up a little bit. Are those things that you guys can learn, or where do those types of tactics get seasoned?
Yeah, that's definitely something he learned in this fight, that he could use. He could have used his shoulders a little bit more, turning inside. Could have used his forearms a little bit more. Could have used his post jabs, when you post them up, keep them off balance. But, one thing I wanted to say, like when I watched the fight back, Timothy Bradley, man, I don't know what's up with this guy and commentating, man. I don't know if he thinks he's Teddy Atlas or whatever, just to sit there and imply, oh, well, he doesn't know how to fight inside. Like, what do you mean he doesn't know how to fight inside? Like, he's ripping this dude's body. Like he knows how to fight inside. So, I think a lot of people get off into what Timothy Bradley is saying, and Ward was actually, man, dude knows how to fight. Like, what are you talking about? So, Tyler has a good inside game. Like, he was hitting the body, he was doubling up on the body on both sides, and it was just the little stuff that we weren't doing afterwards. You know what I'm saying? That we seen, after the fight, and that we're cleaning up on, and that that he will get better on. But and he needed that experience to show him that he needed to get better just on the little things, the subtle things that we just needed to get better on, and we're working on that every day in the gym.
Now that was kind of my hypothesis. Are all of those tactics that you just mentioned, are those things that really can only be forged and improved in real, in real fights, under the real lights?
Yeah, because look, you got a trainer. A trainer can tell you everything, right? He could tell you everything. He could tell you this is going to happen, this is going to happen. You got to train for this. But if you've never seen it before, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you got to see that. You got to see that type of stuff, and you got to get that type of experience. You got to remember, man. Like from where Tyler was at opposition to going straight to Carl Frampton. You're talking about a legit prospect going straight to the top, and so the dudes that he's fought. Even though, he's had some good opposition, but they've never been to a level of Carl Frampton. And, so Tyler, he had to see that. He had to see those type of things to be like, oh, okay, I could have done this. Okay, I could have did this. Okay, yeah, we practiced that, but I didn't do it. So now we're on those things, and it's just the littlest stuff at the top. When you're at the top of the top of the game, it's the little things that matter, the little subtle things that matter that nobody pick up on. Is just those little things. And like I said, so we're getting better at it. And come March or April, everybody will see a different Tyler. They will see what that fight really did for him.
Who would you like to target? And will it be at super featherweight? And if so, who's I know you watch the game more than me, so is there a type of fighter or a name out there that you have your desire?
So I mean, after fighting Carl Frampton, it's like any top 130s. That's who we're after. At the top 130. So I don't think we'll get it on the next fight back, but we wouldn't mind the winner of Valdez and Berchon, or the winner of Herring Frampton. But we're right there. So I mean, where else can they look? Because we're right there. We're still rated in the world. We're right there. So the fights have to be, made. So after all those fights go through or whatever, we'll love to get the winner. But right now we're gonna focus on, getting back in there, getting back to our winning ways, and we'll be sitting right there whenever they offer us to fight one of them.
When you saw him, and this is my last question on that fight, but when you saw him bite down kind of there, and I think that might have been his 7th, or either the 6th or the 7th, but he really went for it and kind of stood his ground. What was your takeaway on that?
That was, when he did that.
Was it just something that it just wasn't something sustainable because of the inexperience, or having concerns
it was
about
the inexperience, man. That's all it was. It's just the inexperience, man. But Tyler could have done that all night long. Like he really could have done that. I mean, I see him do it in the gym over and over and over again. I see him dog walking dudes in the gym. Like, you might not see it, but Frampton even said it. I gotta watch out for this kid's power because he's strong. Frampton felt that and he said it. But Tyler could have definitely done that all night. It was just, the inexperience of, can I do this for 10 rounds? Tyler could have done that.
That was the second part of my question. Was it, how much I'm exerting, and how much is going to be left, and am I going to have enough down the stretch? So, like I said, I watched the fight, man, and as things started moving over to in Frampton's, as he started taking control of the fight and whatnot, I kind of understood what was going on, man. But it's not, like you said, nothing to hang his head about. You can't get that experience anywhere but there, and we'll see when he makes it back.
Look, we've seen a chance and an opportunity, man, to reach greatness, and man, we took it. So a lot of people, fans, or whoever you are, that watch boxing, you have to respect a kid like that who's undefeated. And listen, we could have took an easier route. We gave up a fight date against a much lesser opponent.
Conway.
To take that opportunity. Right. To take that opportunity. We gave up a fight date, that should have happened in October. And we trained 6 more weeks for Frampton. And, we passed up on that. So when you look at Tyler, they have to look, people got to respect him. Like, man, this kid took his shot at greatness. He didn't capitalize on the opportunity that night. But what we got from that fight, man, is that no one will be able to take that from him. And when he goes into his future fights, man, you're going to be able to see that fight. You're going to see how much he's grown, how much that fight has grown him and matured him as a boxer. And you're going to just, like, really see, like, the difference in Tyler, man, of what he's going to be doing to these people.
You as a trainer, I know you talked to quite a few other trainers about various things, man. Was it anybody that came to you with anything that kind of was a word to the wise for you, or something to help you grow as a trainer? Did anybody mention anything to you?
Boxing is a kind of it's a funny sport, man. So it's always a lot of trainers, they sit back. A lot of trainers who've never even been to that level will sit back and talk about another trainer and say, "Oh, I would have done this. I would have done this. We would have done." You can't tell me what you would have done because you never been to that level. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's a whole nother level. The fighter has to be sharp. The trainer has to be sharp. But what I've done right? What I've done, I've never fell into my ego. I've never been that trainer to like compare myself to other trainers because only two things is going to happen. If I compare myself to this trainer and I feel like, oh, he's better than me, that, he's this, he's that, I become inferior. Or I could look at another trainer and say, I'm better than him, and all that's going to do is make me feel like I'm better than him. You know what I'm saying? Make me feel like I'm not going to be humble, so I'll lose my humble ways. But what I've been able to do, I've been able to link up with 3 or 4 trainers that's been at this level, who's had multiple world champions, and that really care about helping me grow. I've really, I've linked up with them. I talk with them every day. They help me grow mentally, and also with different types of strategies or what I could be doing. Because, if I'm linked up with these type of guys every day, and I use them as mentors, and they are my mentors, and they have multiple world champions amongst all of, each one of them have multiple world champions. How can I not have a multiple world champion when I'm getting mentored by 3 or 4 other coaches that have multiple world champions?
Got you. Right now I'm talking to coach, head trainer out of Toledo, Ohio, Lamar Wright. Let me ask you, man, like I said, I know you watch the game as much or more than I do. So what was your thoughts on the outcome of the main event in Philadelphia Saturday with J-Rock? What was your takeaway with your eye on that one?
So, I got a podcast.
Go on and put that out there.
I got a podcast, Everyday Talk. You can find it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. So I did a predictions and a breakdown. Now, my prediction was wrong because I predict J-Rock to win by a 5th round knockout. But what's his name? Jason
Rosario.
Rosario, right?
Yeah.
Jason Rosario, he won 5th round knockout. But my breakdown was on point. I said that Rosario is a big puncher, kind of reminded me of like a Corrales type puncher.
Okay.
I said he had that big shot. He had, world class power, and that J-Rock could not sleep on his defense. And if he did, something like that could end up happening. And it did, man. And I like J-Rock, man, and I just, that's the fight game, man. And so for him to take down, like he took down Goliath at 154 pounds, and then, he came in and lost to Jason Rosario. But see, those are, when you get them titles, man, you guys get these title defenses. Like, you can't take these dudes lightly. Like, this dude, what was his record? 20-3 at the time, 21-3?
Talking about Rosario?
Rosario, yeah, 20-3, 21-3.
He only had the one loss to Nathaniel Gallimore.
Oh, so he only had one loss. Okay.
Yeah, he only had one loss.
He the type of dude that probably never thought he'd get a world title shot. Then he got the opportunity, and that that's gonna change his life, man. So he's really in there fighting for his life. For everything that he's worked for, his hardships, all his adversities, that's all coming in there with it, man. And like, you really want to put that dude down and stop him. And you can't play with them dudes. And you can't look past them type of dudes. And so to see that happen to J-Rock, though, such a good dude, such a cool cat, man, it kind of hurt me a little bit. But then that also made me question, like, how could he be? But it made me question that when he beat Herb. Like, Herb did all that work to become a unified champion. And one bad night took all his belts. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, why do these dudes got to lose all their belts, man? So if they fight just a guy for a title, man, they should be able to pick what title they want to put up and fight for that title, man. But because you just doing all that work, man, you did all that work to unify the titles, man. You lost them all in one bad night.
You see, now
kudos to Jason, man.
It just bugs me out because watching Rosario face Jamonte Clark out of Cincinnati, and I think Clark ended up going the distance with him, but getting knocked. Maybe they did stop that one later in the fight because I know he knocked him out of the ring early in the fight, knocked him completely out of the ring, and had
Clark with the distance.
Okay. I thought it was.
He had a couple knockdowns against him.
Right. I thought it was. I thought it did, but Yeah, I'm looking at that like how far away is Jamonte Clark?
Yeah, see, like he's not far. Like his only loss came to a future world champion. Not a unified world champion. So he's not far. But when he took the loss, I guarantee you there's a lot of people that hate on him that said that, man, he lost against the bum. Why did he lose to this guy who got knocked out by Nathaniel Gallimore? Man, boxing is about styles make fights, man, and every man enters that ring with two hands. None of these fights are gimmies, man. When you pass that building stage, none of these fights are gimmies anymore. And you really got to train, man. You can't look past these dudes. These dudes are hungry, and they want to get out the situation that they're in, man, and they want to change their life. Same thing with Ricky White, man. That's why everybody avoided him, and nobody gave him an opportunity at 54 because they knew how serious he was. And then Shane Mosley had to give that man an opportunity. You see what he did when he took it. Like that man held on to that, man. He's beating the brakes off everyone.
Now, I don't know kind of where I am. I don't know if it was a conditioning thing, working in camp. I don't think J-Rock is a guy who shows a lot of what he has going on in between fights, like on Instagram and whatnot.
I don't think he was, man. I think, man, that power, he just underestimated that punching power, man. Tried to get too brave. Then he got cut, so, in his mind, I've never seen J-Rock cut like that in a fight, so, I don't know what he was thinking. Maybe he thought it was more urgent. The cut was in a bad spot because it was on the eyelid. Those are the fights, those are the cuts that doctors tend to stop on the eyelid. And I think he had some type of urgency on him, man, and to try to bring the fight got caught.
Yeah, it just seemed like, he just panicked a little bit and things just kind of spiraled out of control for him.
Right. Yeah, but, styles make fights, man. But he said he had the immediate rematch. We'll see if that happens. But like I said, and Rosario would be tailor-made for Tony Harris. So if they was to make that fight, we could see all those titles change hands in 3 fights in a row.
That's kind of why I think once they get to looking at what makes sense for the PBC and kind of what they can do since they control 154. I don't know if that rematch situation. And the thing that kills me, I'm thinking earlier today, like how the hell does J-Rock have an immediate rematch, but guys like Keith Thurman and Sean Porter, they just assed out. They just take their losses and move on. It's kind of an interesting situation, in my opinion, and kind of and probably indicative of how business comes first over there at PBC. That, like I said, they can make the calendar much more interesting by delaying that rematch, in my opinion.
Yeah, they might delay it. They might give J-Rock some sit down money. Tell him, man, let's get back to your winning ways, and then match Harrison and Rosario together. Harrison win that fight, and then now you're looking at a big fight between Harrison and J-Rock, or Harrison Herb, or Harrison Charlo. Everybody wants to see Harrison fight, man. So I don't see Harrison left out the equation. Like, he has to fit back into the equation, and I think right here is the opportunity where he fits back into the equation.
I think I'd like to see J-Rock and Harrison myself.
Yeah, so let Harrison go, fight homeboy and claim them titles, and then now you get, there you go. Now you can get a Herb Charlo and a Harrison J-Rock.
What's going on? I didn't get to see the fight this weekend of the big fella out in from Toledo, the heavyweight. Yeah, I didn't get to check him out this weekend. I'm gonna see if I can see that on demand or something. I saw he got the victory and whatnot, man. But did you get a chance to check out his performance?
Man, listen, I ain't missing a big baby fight because if you blink, it's over with. But Jared, man, just a hell of an athlete, man. Just been blessed. Like, he's actually, he is the future for the heavyweights for Americans. So super talented. You know, he's not like, he's not learning on the job. You know what I'm saying? So he had over, I don't know how many fights he had, but he went 4 years running, man, winning straight national tournaments, going overseas, whooping all them dudes. He would have had a gold medal. But, some things happened where, that prevented him from staying into the amateur. So, he went to, pursue his pro career. And, he's just, they lining him up and just knocking him down.
Where is he?
He also had another big win on that same card. Devin Vargas actually won.
Oh, did he?
He beat her. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like I said, I gotta check it out. I was out of pocket Saturday night and didn't get to keep up with everything. Let me know where is kind of what's the relationship, or how do those two guys measure up being in the same stable, the Sonny Canto kid and Jared Anderson. I mean, at some point I would imagine, they're gonna be tracking each other to some degree.
Oh, they ain't in the same stable. Oh, you mean same
top rank,
same promotional banner?
Yes,
they ain't in the same stable. So
correct.
I don't know. To me, no prospect beats Jared Anderson. That's the best heavyweight prospect there is right now. Is Jared Anderson. His skill, he can bang, he can box. He can do it all, man. And, he don't fight like a heavyweight. Those combinations, big, strong, and he's powerful.
How old is the kid?
20 years old, man. That's why they call him Big Baby.
Okay, all right.
The real Big Baby. I was out there in Vegas like, oh, shit. When they said that real Big Baby, then they had, what's the name over there, sitting ringside?
Jarrell Miller?
Big Baby. Yeah, Jarrell Miller.
That's crazy. So, what's going on with the other guys, man? I know Sonny Fredrickson is coming off of his disappointment against Samuel Tia and whatnot. I see him in the gym and staying sharp and whatnot. What's the outlook for his return?
So we're looking to be back with him, same time frame, late March, early April. We'll be coming back, trying to set the record straight. They actually, the fight that we did at DC, they actually stole our title. If it was going to be like that, we just would have gift wrapped it for them, because that's basically what they did. The judges and the local judges and, the IBF, I got an issue with that because we pay a sanction fee. It's your job, because we pay a sanction fee, to make sure we have non-biased judging. You used all local judges when we fought a local kid. And, that's the shit that happens. I don't know, I don't know if it's on the IBF more than the supervisor there that should have made sure that the judges shouldn't have been biased, or all local judges shouldn't have been used. So
that's what he's there to do.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. The supervisor should have took care of that. I wrote the IBF a letter. They kept him in the rankings. So I think they kind of know what happened, the situation. He's still in the rankings, number 7 in the world with the IBF. It was just bad. We fought a local guy, local judge.
So let me
came up to me, the lady that had the draw, said, "You guys' mistake is that you guys fought a local guy."
So let me ask you, man. I mean, you guys were kind of entertaining or in talks with DAZN maybe to get on a card here and there, or looking into other bigger outings or opportunities moving forward. You take this fight to stay sharp and do what you got to do. What's the impact to you guys? How does this make life difficult for you guys?
I mean, it's difficult, man. We got to go steal somebody's juice. We took a loss in 2018, in January of 2018, and he bounced back beautifully from that. Coming back and went to Mexico, fought a fight. Then he fought another tough dude and won his title. And then, we had a lot of inactivity, man. He won his title and then didn't fight again until he defended his title. So, but, that was a fight that he needed to win. And, because talks is that he was going to be Regis's first title defense, but Regis ended up losing to Josh Taylor, so none of that shit worked out. So now we just have to get back. We got to get back to it, man, and we just got to show that he belongs, and Sonny just got to take some of his juice.
Got you. What's your outlook for this weekend, man? Anything you excited to see? Personally, I want to see what this Fulton does against Arnold Kagai. It's kind of the main fight I think I'm checking out this weekend. With Ray Vargas coming over to the PBC, I wonder if that's one of the options for Fulton if he gets past Kagai.
Who was that? I think we was on a card with him over there in Oklahoma.
Kagai?
Yeah. I think he's actually a Demetrius Lita fighter.
I think so.
You talk about Stephon Fulton, right?
Yeah.
So I think Stephon Fulton, he'll have his hands full, but I think this is a fight that he can outbox this dude. He just can't let this dude try to overpower him. He definitely is going to have to use his angles. Definitely can't be on the ropes. But I think Stephon, he's actually talented, man. A lot of people haven't talked about it, but I'm glad to see that he's finally getting some shine, and I think he'll be able to really outbox this dude, and just box his way to victory. That's what he's gonna have to do with this guy, because the guy is strong. He's gonna come forward, but Stephon, he's definitely got more tools in the bag.
Yeah, I think so. But like I said, it's a good. I think it's a damn good matchup with Kagai. With us being familiar with him coming over from a couple of showbox appearances, so I think that's a pretty good look for him. I thought they got a great opponent in there last week for prime time for Christopher Colbert with Corrales and whatnot, and I think here with
you see what the experience does.
Right.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on we see the return? Speaking of Jared Hurd, he's making his return this weekend against Chia Santana. Santana, we obviously know, is a guy who's more of a welterweight probably, but he gets the assignment. I know he's a tough guy and pretty determined in the ring and whatnot. And it's a chance for us to see what Hurd and how he looks under the tutelage of K. Karama.
Yeah, see, I mean that's the more intriguing fight that I want to watch. Not because of the fight itself, but I want to see what Hurd does. I want to see, with a new trainer. Kay is actually, he's a great trainer. I want to see if they just made him better at what he does instead of trying to switch him up and make him very technical. Because that ain't Hurd, man. Hurd is great at what he does because of his all the things that he does wrong. You know what I'm saying? So I want to see if they just made Hurd better at what he does instead of having, So that's what I'm looking at. I want to see if Hurd is going to be Hurd, but just a better version of Hurd, or if Hurd is going to be trying to do other things that is not going to suit him well. But I think Coach K, he's smart as a trainer, and So I think Coach K will just make him better at what he does. You want to go forward, all right, let's make your defense better. Let's let you get under these shots. Let's let you catch and slip and counter coming forward instead of trying to make you this big technical fighter.
Okay. All right, well, I'm going to get ready to get off of here. But like I said, I mainly wanted to come on here and make sure that my audio was good for future guests and whatnot. It looks like I did troubleshoot the problem that I had Saturday. So, but I guess before you get out of here, man, what's I don't know if you want to talk about your first half of 2020, big thing that you're looking for, or just January itself, or maybe since we're almost through January, maybe January and February. Kind of what's the big matchup that you're checking for?
On our end, or just in boxing?
Just in boxing in general.
Well, you're going to hear it from me, man. I'm telling you. It's going to be Regis Prograis versus Terrence Crawford. I look for that fight to happen.
Really?
I look for that fight to happen.
Okay.
Regis is not fighting 40 no more because I've actually been at weigh-ins when Regis fought 40, man, and how bad he looked at making 140, and he's moving to 47. I think that he may move to 47, get a tune-up, and I think it'll be Crawford. Crawford's next fight will be Regis, probably, more than likely.
I know Hooker there's been some talks of Hooker being the next guy for him, but you know, for Regis. That's part of the talk.
That could be Regis' tune-up.
Yeah, that's part of the talk. What about the Tevin Farmer and Joseph Diaz fight? Any interest in that one?
Yeah, man, I actually, I like both of them. I like Tevin, man. Tevin is one of the purest boxers there is in the sport. Talented, gifted, but I don't think he'll have enough to keep JoJo off of him. You know, like when JoJo fought Gary Russell actually had, some pop off his speed. I don't think Tevin got the same pop to keep JoJo honest. So I actually think JoJo will be a new champion.
Yeah, I loved JoJo's body work against Gary Russell Jr. was just so was a beautiful thing to watch, in my opinion. So I'm interested to see what he does. You know, Tevin Farmer is kind of a hard to hit up top and whatnot. So if he works the body the way that he worked Gary Russell Jr., you know, he doesn't have to miss so much trying to hit him cleanly up top. And then you can go up top, you know, once you establish that. So that's kind of what I'm looking for in that one. Also, I think that same night I want to check out Daniel Roman coming back. He's been out of the game a little bit, coming back from an injury. And his Mirajadan Akhmadaliev cat, even though I think he has less than 8 fights, he's one of those Eastern Euros with the big amateur career and has an interesting game about him. I don't know if you checked him out yet.
I haven't.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll keep it moving then. Well, look, man, I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna get on out of here then, man. Unless you got anything else that you want to put out to the public.
Man, I appreciate it, man. So anytime you want to have me on, man, I'm always open and available, man. I ain't that busy.
I appreciate it because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I got to make all this stuff up. Nah, but
good, man. You know what you're doing.
But no, seriously, congratulations on sticking with the podcast, man. And like I said, you put me on to a convenient way for me to make podcast, the audio only podcast. So I've been having a little fun about that, and I'm actually doing my It's Always Personal over there, just digging into different. I'm trying to keep away from sports and whatnot. And just more talking about self-help type stuff, encouragement, life lessons, and I'll probably get into some entertainment and everything. But for the most part, I'm trying not to go over there with sports.
No, you will, man, because that's the same thing I do.
I've been seeing the titles change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw.
Back to box.
Right. Hey, you familiar with I keep bringing the new stuff up, but you're familiar with the Bakhtiar Eyubov guy? You guys couldn't get him in there for Sonny a year and a half ago or whatever it was.
No, man, we were just supposed to fight him. Remember when Regis Progress fought Relic?
Right.
We were supposed to fight him that same night on the same card.
Right, down in Louisiana.
But he came in 4.5 pounds overweight.
So I was asking about from that familiarity. I was just wondering what you think about the Boots Ennis kid and kind of what you see happening for him as he moves towards the champions at 147.
Well, we all knew what type of fight that was going to be for Boots because we seen what the other kid did to him. The other little prospect who was only 8-9-0 at the time.
Oh, Sabalo,
right. We seen what Sabalo did to him. Like, Sabalo dispatched him. So a kid like Boots, Boots better have a performance like that with him. But Boots is a special kid, man. Like, reflexes, timing, rhythm. He's got all of it. Like, everything that you want in a fighter, he's got. So, Is he a future world champion? Absolutely. Do I think he needs a couple more fights to get ready? Absolutely. I want to see him in there with a guy who has a will that you can't break, and a guy who's going to test him and let him see some adversity. Because it's always different when you got a guy in front of you and you're punching and none of that's phasing him, and he just keep coming forward. And I want to see what Boots does when he has to think and second guess himself. I want to see that. And then after I see that, then I say, yeah, Boots is ready. And I know Boots can handle the test. So, let's go ahead and put a guy like that in front of him and let Boots pass his test so he can get onto his world title.
Yeah, I saw Cameron.
You never want to see none of that in the world title fight. You don't want to have to start seeing all that in the world title fight. And you will see it in the world title fight, especially at the 147s now, because they're all so great. So, you want to see all those things before you get to a world title fight. Could he go into a world title fight today? Absolutely. And, he'll have a good chance of winning one. But, he hasn't seen the adversity yet.
That's what I expected to kind of see with Rosario a little bit, but he had different plans. But I was thinking, I don't know if you saw that fight between Alexander Vesputin, his last fight against this cat named Radzab Butayev, but I was like, Butayev at 12-1 now. I thought a guy like him would have been, it fits the bill of what you just described.
Right. No, I didn't see that fight. So what happened in that fight?
It was just a very competitive fight. Butayev, just like you said, he took all of Vesputin's work, which this week we find out that Vesputin came up with some stuff in his test from the Monaco or whatever, the athletic commission and whatnot.
What they say?
It was some kind of steroid. He was vehement or adamant that he wasn't dirty and wanted to he demanded the results on the B sample and whatnot. But yeah, I forget what the name of the substance was, but it was out there last week. But and that's the thing, the Butayev cat he was a physical dude, man, could take good shots. But Vesputin's hands was faster. But he rocked Vesputin later in the fight, and Vesputin recovered you just recovered differently, just differently than what you normally see. And he ended up pulling out the fight. It was I believe it was a unanimous decision, but it was just a damn good fight. But like you said, wanting to see Boots face that type of adversity and a tough guy, I just thought that would fit the bill perfectly. And then, it's probably gonna be. I mean, it seems like we get these Eastern European guys is kind of the easiest way to get him an opponent like that. Versus, we ain't gonna get a Jamal James to fight him most likely,
right? Or
you guys or somebody. I mean, it's probably not gonna be anybody that's already in the States rocking.
Right. Yeah, that's all I want to see. I just want to see Boots get that adversity before he steps up to a world title. I'm not saying that he can't win a world title now, but I'm saying I want him to see and experience that adversity so he doesn't have to go through that during the world title fight, because that'll break you mentally. That'll stall a lot of stuff out for you. Even the best fighters, Floyd seen adversity before he even won his titles.
Right, and I think it's interesting, when we start seeing Boots in there with these guys that he can't break all the rules against and do all of the creative stuff that he does. I want to see, like you said, I just want to see him have to dig deep. I didn't realize that Vesputin fought Wes Tucker.
Yeah, he fought Wes. Yeah, we fought him out there. Wesley took that fight on like 10-day notice.
Damn.
So, but even then, even with that late notice, I said, man, that motherfucker's strong, real strong. So,
all right, man. Well, look.
We'll see.
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm getting ready to get it.
You good? I'm ready to go to bed, man.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, like I said, man, appreciate you coming on, and I'll be in touch, man. Because I'm gonna try to I might bring you on as a guest on It's Always Personal.
All right, man. I appreciate it, man. Just let me know. I'm always available, man. I want to thank all your fans, man, for tuning in, listening to us. You can follow me at CHAMPMAKER419 on Instagram and Twitter.
Will you be heading over for the that February 8th card? Or you think you might make it over that way in Indiana?
Probably not.
Okay. All right.
Probably not.
All right, man. We'll take care, and best of luck to you guys, man.
All right.
All right.
All right, peace.
All right, like I said, man, I just was I messed up some audio over the weekend, and it was pissing me off. You know, I had a guy on, a good guest on in Jamel Herring, and you know, I want to be able to do what I'm trying to do the way that I'm trying to do it, and you know, it was issues with his volume and whatnot, and as I do continue to to fight and bring on different guests, and you know, it's just important, it's imperative that I don't waste people's time, and you know, to sit there and talk for 25-30 minutes. And people can't hear what was being said, and I think people in the live chat that were on there, they could hear Jamel, but I think once the episode was loaded up on the YouTube, I think depending on where you were or what kind of headset you had, or maybe even trying to listen to it on mobile, it just might not have been possible. It might not have been easy to hear. So you know, I actually, and I'll put that out there. Joshua Greer Jr. is kind of booked for Saturday. I do for this coming Saturday, probably starting at 11 a.m. Eastern time. You know, he's back working, training with his old trainer, his original trainer, I believe, George Hernandez in Chicago. He's moved on from John Pullman out west. And, you know, he's a guy that's quite a, I mean, he's right there on the cusp of fighting for a world title at 118. So what's that, bantamweight? So yeah, I just want to get him on to see what's going on for his 2020 and when we could expect him back, and kind of I got some questions about you know, the return to George Hernandez, just some things that I was noticing you know, that was going on with this game with each fight with Pullman. I just noticed some different things that kind of were a concern to me. And I can go directly to Greer himself and kind of ask, you know, kind of what's the benefit in returning to George Hernandez, and then whether or not, I know Ubali and Donaire I think are fighting. We gotta wait to see what's going on with the health of Naoya Inoue. And like I said, man, them names right there, I mean, those are some beasts, you know. And I just want to be nosy, man, and see what prompted the kid to switch things up, and then also to get an idea, you know, what's next for him. I know he teased a couple of weeks ago that there wasn't a big announcement was forthcoming. Like I said, though, I don't think there's any way for him any title opportunity in his next move, but we'll see. Let me get on out of here, man. Thanks for anybody that tuned in tonight. Thanks for anybody that checks this out, you know, on the playback once it is put up. Please support the channel by subscribing to it. If, you know, I get anybody on here that you like, any of the responses or information that, you know, comes out, if it helps you follow the game better or get a better understanding of what these guys go through in this game. And, you know, and I'm mainly talking to prospects, you know, and guys, you know, trying to get there. So that's kind of the lane that I'm in, and you know, I enjoy getting those stories out there. So with that said, Saturday morning, Joshua Greer Jr. should be on here. I'll confirm probably Friday night, and definitely send some tweets out Saturday morning, but definitely targeting 11 a.m. Eastern time. And that's that. Let me get on out of here, man. Bite down boxing. Don't let them count you out. Peace.